Today's project starts with a 5-gallon bucket and a 1.5-inch pipe. I got this scrap piece and I need to cut it and mark it just so it's not bigger than the bucket itself. And then I'm going to take the bucket and pour some nice fresh water in the bottom. That keeps the concrete from sticking. Once I get all the concrete in, I'm going to pour the rest of the water and then I'm going to mix it. You can do it by hand. If you do, just do a little bit at a time. I've got a paddle bit so I can go ahead and mix everything at one time. Now I got to stick the pipe in there and I don't want the concrete getting in the pipe. So I just took a little rubber glove that I had and I just put it on the end and start twisting it in there. Now make sure the concrete's nice and loose, give it a tap and measure it to make sure it's right in the middle of the bucket. Once I do that, let it sit up overnight, it's nice and strong. And now I'm going to go to my big planter pot. I'm going to get a scrap piece of wood and put it on the bottom to make sure it's not too big, not too small. And what I need to do is put some caster wheels on there. I need to put these all in all four corners, and they also help just in case when I put the bucket on there that I can roll it around. These look great. Now it's time to get a bigger piece of wood. I'm going to take the planter, put it upside down, and I'm going to mark it. But I don't want to put it right on the edge of the planter. I want to leave a little bit of a lip, as you can see here. So then I'm going to take my jigsaw and start cutting. I wanted to go a little bit wider than the mark I made. So as you can see right here, I went a little bit wider. And that's okay. You can see it splintering a little bit on the plywood. That's fine because what I can do next is get the sander out and make sanding all the edges and all the top because I want to get it ready for staining. Once this is all done, I'm going to grab me a hole saw like this and I'm going to start drilling right in the middle, and it's going to be just big enough for the pipe to go through. Once I get that done, I'm going to go ahead and sand it, make sure it's nice and clean on the inside there. And then I'm going to grab some Jenga pieces, put some glue on them, and I'm going to put them around the edge on the inside of the circle. Now this is the bottom. Why we do this is because when it goes on the planter, I don't want it sliding off. Once these glued Jenga pieces set up, I'm going to flip it back over and it's time for my favorite stain. I wanted to go with a darker stain on this one, and I also wear gloves because it is oil-based and I don't want it to get sticky on my hands. Now, a lot of people use brushes, but I use a towel to go ahead and put this on. I feel like I can get a lot better coverage with it and also get it right into the grain of the wood. And what I love about it is, especially when you use walnut, is it makes that grain just pop right out. I'm going to get this on there and let it dry, and then I'm going to go grab that piece of wood with the caster wheels, put the pot on it, stick the concrete in there, put the lid on, put my umbrella in, and look at this. It's easy to move around on concrete, but I've got a better spot for it. I'm going to put this in the backyard. I'm going to set up my chairs, put down my pot, put the concrete bucket in, put the lid on, and then I'm going to set the umbrella up. And it's going to be great to sit outside and not have to worry about the umbrella falling over or blowing away.
Imagine creating your perfect garden filled with every plant, flower, and decor you could dream of. I've always wanted to plant peonies, but it's too cold where I live. With Garden Joy, you can bring your gardening dreams to life. With beautiful, real-life plants, decor, and landscaping materials, you can make your garden look more magnificent than you could have ever imagined. Not only can you design your dream garden, but you can also learn fun and interesting details about plants, flowers, and trees along the way to use in your own backyard. Garden Joy taught me that the crabapple tree needs to be planted in full sun and blooms in the spring. Do you need a break from dirt and sun? Garden Joy offers a cozy escape, letting you unwind as you build your serene sanctuary to your perfect specs. Inside the game, you can even plant trees in the real world. You get to decide where in the world those trees are planted. How cool is that? So what are you waiting for? Download Garden Joy for yourself today and let your creativity bloom.
I scoured Amazon for the perfect shower curtain for this project. It's the perfect material because it's water resistant, so I won't have to worry about leaving it outside. I want to make sure I leave enough hanging over to be able to sew the edges. Before I head inside, I'm going to give the table a quick coat of paint. I love this dark green, and it's going to look lovely with the leaves of the shower curtain. To turn the shower curtain into the tablecloth, I want to fold under the edges and sew them all the way around, leaving a nice wide pocket for the tie later. Now that the edges are all turned under and sewed up, I'm going to thread a piece of twine through the pocket I created. I could use elastic for this as well, but I want to be able to loosen and tighten it as I need to. I want to make sure there's plenty of twine and that the tablecloth isn't bunched up at all. I'm also going to leave a nice long piece at the beginning and the end so that I can tie it once it's on the table. It's time to put the new cover on the table and tie it up. It fits perfectly. I'm absolutely loving this custom tablecloth and how fun it looks. I hope this has inspired you to grab a shower curtain for your table as well. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Home Talk. I'll see you next time.
Grab a large planter and saucer to create a versatile centerpiece for your outdoor table. You'll have the most flexibility if you choose a planter that is wide and low. Start by drilling holes in the center of both the planter and the saucer. A 2-inch drill bit will create a hole that is the perfect size for most standard outdoor umbrellas. You now have a perfect centerpiece for your table that can be used in a variety of ways. To use for storage, place the planter over the opening on the table with the saucer turned upside down on top, then insert your umbrella. The saucer now serves as a lid, and the planter can be used to store all of your summer essentials. The planter can also serve as a handy ice bucket. Use the planter alone and fill with ice to keep drinks cold and easily accessible. The gap between the hole in the planter and the umbrella allows the ice to neatly drain as it melts. You can also use the planter and lid to create an easy lazy Susan. Place the saucer right side up on top of the planter. The sides of the saucer are the perfect height to securely contain condiments, napkins, coasters, and cutlery. And of course, you can use the planter as a planter. Place the saucer underneath the planter, insert your umbrella, and add your plants. No need to fill the planter with dirt. Simply place the pots directly inside, creating a colorful addition to your outdoor table.
I've got this old glass table out back, and boy, it is a mess. First thing I got to do is get it all cleaned up, get all rid of that old dirt and grime on top. Next, I'm going to tape around all of the edges. I got to make sure that any epoxy that we pour is not going to drip underneath. Next, we're going to do that 2-part epoxy, part A and part B. Once you get equal amounts, mix them together. It's important when doing epoxy to make sure you thoroughly mix it. Don't worry if you get any bubbles, we'll get rid of those later. Next step, take that clear epoxy and we're going to pour it halfway down the table. What we want to do is make sure we get it all covered from end to end, all of the cup. Once we get it poured on there, the next step, making sure we're wearing gloves, is to spread it out. Don't worry about all those fingerprints and finger marks. This epoxy is self-leveling. Next, we're going to mix a little bit of teal in the next cup of clear epoxy. What that's going to do is give us that nice, rich color right there. When we go next to the clear epoxy, we're going to pour it out and we're going to let that self-level on its own. After we pour this out, we're going to go with a darker green because we're going for an ocean look. And the farther away we get from the clear epoxy, the darker it's got to get. As we spread it out, we're going to do like we did before, and we're going to use our hands to spread it. Make sure you're wearing gloves, and don't worry, that stuff's going to self-level. Next, it's white. Go ahead and make sure it's pretty thick, and you're going to pour it right at the top of the clear epoxy, all the way down, halfway across the table. Once you get it all poured out, here's where the magic starts. You're going to take a hairdryer, not using heat, just air, and you're going to start spreading out that white. And I think you can see what's happening here. It's going to be our little wave that's coming up, crashing on the shore. We're going to go all the way across and then mix another cup because waves always come in pairs, don't they? So we're going to spread this across the table and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take that hairdryer and spread it out. Now, we're going to let this cure for a little bit and we're going to go back to that ugly base. I'm going to take some 80 grit sandpaper, start getting rid of all that flaky paint. We don't want that. Next, I turn the table upside down to start on the legs, start spraying it with some good spray paint. I bet you can't guess the name of this paint, but it's called Hidden Sea Glass, and it's going to look great. Once I get the bottom cleared up, painted, then I'm going to start on the top. This took about 3 coats, but boy, did it look good when I was done. The next day, it was time to put on the darkest color we have. I'm going to spread that all the way across. All it takes is a full cup, and then again, spread it out. Once I get it all spread out, I'm going to let it sit for about 10 minutes to self-level. Next, it's time to put some more waves on, but these don't go straight across. These are kind of random because they're out farther at the sea. Again, we're going to take that hairdryer and spread it all out. I can just see this beautiful little beach come together. The next step is to put it all together. I took it back outside, And I put some matching chairs with it. Isn't it absolutely amazing? What a wonderful addition to the back porch. Make some nice fruity drinks to put outside. Boy, this table is just amazing, and I love sitting out here enjoying the cool summer breeze. I hope this inspired you to build your own glass table epoxy beach scene. Thank you for watching Home Talk, and we'll catch you next time.